I may be late to the AI party, but it's still a very cool party. Let's just hope I'm fashionably late. You are watching an AI match from the AI arena. Both of our players today are humanistically challenged, and I'm excited to see what they'll bring us on the map Hardwire. Big macro map. Oh, we've got a drone out. Is that a scout or do we got some droid cheese? That sounds like something you can get on a pizza. So very cool that our Terran bot is walling off. I am so stoked for this match. We've got two of the very top AIs on the ladder right now. It's gonna be hatch first for our Zerg. Definitely replicating classic openers. Maybe in the post game we can talk about why that is. But perhaps you will notice that our robot in red is not a big contraption. He's a Micromachine!
Current SC2 rank number 4.
There's definitely some hype about this bot, and I'm keen to see what he's gonna bring. But our Zerg bot is named after the goddess of strife and discord. She is Eris!
Current SC2 rank number 1.
That's right, we're looking at the Serral of bots here. But while I'm goofing around, it looks like Eris is taking an early third. And I'm a bit confused because if I've got it right, that third has gone down before an extractor. It wasn't extractor pool, it was just pool. A gasless Zerg opening. Oops, that building's cutting off the pathing for the SCVs there. Meanwhile, factory's on the way and a Reaper is being prepared. That's actually a bunker going up in the mineral line. And the SCVs are going inside. Actually, that kind of looks like it's intentional. Oh, I'm such an idiot. This is some kind of trick that's making the SCVs go faster. That is so cool. It's a gas delivery thing. And it's something you can only pull off with like a gazillion APM. I could never do that, but I gather a machine could. Oh, I'd love to see stats on how much gas acceleration you can get with that. I bet somebody has it. Meanwhile, still no gas for Zerg. Queen's coming out. Reaper hits the mineral line before any defense arrives. Eris is gonna have to micro the drones. That lone slowling is not gonna be any help, but the Queen is. No drone kills for that Reaper. I think he gets zoned out, but I don't even know what I know anymore. Can he just out-deke the Queen? 2 more Queens in production though. And back at home, Terran's making a tank with his 111 build. Oh, we get kind of insight as to what the bot is thinking. I think that's like computer speak for sound the retreat. I don't really get those numbers though. Meanwhile, Eris's Overlord has a perching point just like a human player. Tech lab going on the starport. I may have missed it, but I don't think there's any add-on switches going on. Sorry, my brain is like exploding with all this weirdness. I just can't stop staring at that bunker. That is so cool. Who thought that up? And I know you people who've been watching that for like the last 5 years are all laughing at me right now, but it's new to me. Yeah, that Reaper's not getting in there. There's 3 Queens now, even if his name is Micromachine. I mean, it's obviously too early to declare something like this, but I feel like Eris got away with a really greedy start here. The third's already up. Roach Warren's gone down. Speed is a little bit later, but Burrow's actually being researched as well. Oh, and this looks like a potential Overlord sack. I don't know if Eris actually does this. That's a slow Overlord going in for a scout, and it's perfectly positioned to catch the cloak, and there's no Marine position to stop it. I'm assuming the bot knows how to click on the structures to see what's going on with them. Oh, here comes the repelling crew. That Overlord gets chopped down, and that's gonna be a first blood. If that was a human player, I would say it was totally worth it. We'll have to see how Eris reacts. Zerg got supply block, but it looked to me like Eris was actually making an Overlord in advance and then added a couple more immediately after. Oh, and there's the spores. 3 spores going up. Bravo! I was all set to blather on about how scouting information isn't very useful if you don't do anything with it. Hold on, is that trash talk? The Reaper kills a Ling and then throws it in his opponent's face. That's awesome! The Reaper micro looks so different. You can see all the blue click marks. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's getting the job done. He killed a Ling with a grenade. Eris is ahead of me. I was about to say she needs to group her Lings together if she wants to beat that Reaper. Stop hiding and fight insect. I gather these are pre-programmed lines that get delivered when certain conditions are met. But that is so cool. Micromachine is not only programmed to win, but he's also programmed to entertain. Okay, normally a big pack of speedlings punishes a Reaper. Let's see what happens. There are clicks everywhere. What do they mean? The Reaper threads the mineral line to try to escape. Is there a surround? Yes, there is. And at the same time, the Lings are distracting that cloaked Banshee. No kills on that Banshee. It hasn't been able to get anything done, at least not yet. And then Eris goes and starts a fourth. It'll be 4 bases to 2 if that completes. But look who's pushing out. Just a shower of red and blue clicks all over the map. Armory's going down. And another one of those gas bunkers. Sorry, I know I need to get over that, but I'm probably going to talk about it the whole game. Second starport for Micromachine. Lair completing for Eris. 15,000 APM for Terran. And from what I've seen, it can get bigger than that. Lair finishes and Eris goes for roach speed right away. I've noticed the numbers on the hatch are changing like crazy. It looks like the drones are getting individually microed to try to keep them alive. It's so subtle you can't really see it, but I think the numbers on the hatchery really tell the story there. Hydra Den going down, +1 attack starting up for Terran. Eris has an Evo chamber, but she's not doing anything with it just yet. Oh, Speedling's getting on those tanks. That's what they need to do. Take the hits there. That's a cost-effective win there for those Zerglings. 67 drones for Eris at the 6-minute mark. That is impressive. There is a big-time income lead for the Zerg right now. Still no kills for that Banshee, but Micromachine is keeping it alive. And it might be slowing down the mineral gathering. I can't really tell for sure. Stimpack starts up and so does Hydra Speed. Eris also starting up +1 armor. The only thing that can really oppose the Banshees is the Queens. And if they're staying on the creep, then the Banshees are actually going to give the Terran a great deal of map control here. Though the creep spread by the Zerg is just crazy good. Every time you look at the production tab, it seems like there's at least 5 more creep doomers on the way. Micromachine really hasn't done anything in terms of paring back the creep, but in fairness, he's been kind of busy chasing Lings around the map here. Oh, Lings pick up that Cyclone. Not a lot of kills for the Zerg. I gotta say, the Terran is really good at keeping his units alive. Spire and Infestation Pit going down for the Zerg. Still no kills for that Banshee. This is like the longest Banshee harass I've ever seen. A human player would have killed 3 drones and lost his Banshee by now. Oh, Eris is doing the burrowed Lings to stop the expansions. And Micromachine knows what to do to stop it. But how did he know they were there before he sent his command center? He must have had vision of the Lings going down. Anywho, bravo to both our bots. That is super cool. Micromachine paints the town red with mouse clicks as he hunts down that Zergling. Oh, the Banshee got a kill. I missed it. Maybe he brought down that extractor finally. I was about to say the injured Banshee's tagging off with a fresh one, but that one looks just as badly injured. So it's 5 bases to 3. Micromachine's trying to make it 5 to 4. He puts down his 4th. Hydras and Ravagers on the way for the Zerg. Hyperflight rotors for Micromachine. That's a rare upgrade. It's the very expensive Banshee speed upgrade. It's not unheard of, but you don't see it too often. It makes a lot of sense here, given that Micromachine is continuously making Banshees. And on that note, I finally just noticed that Micromachine seems to be a tech lab kind of guy. You don't see any reactors on his buildings. Eris puts down her 6th base. She's at 83 drones and she's covered half the map with creep at this point. Her macro's been nuts. She's up 40 supply over her opponent and maintains a serious income lead. Micromachine says, "What? Air units? I'm not ready." He's showing off that he's scouted the mutas in production. Or perhaps they're already out. It's chaos, man. Micromachine's APM has hit 35,000. I've heard somebody talking about 100,000 before, but I still feel like 35,000 is nuts. I feel like the mutas are a great response to the Banshees. I think it's going to put Micromachine in a lot of trouble. He is, though, making Vikings and turrets. He's done more than just drop a preloaded script. I think that our Terran player's concern, though, has got to be that he hasn't been able to slow down the Zerg economy. He's microing all these battles, but big picture looks pretty good for the Zerg. But maybe it doesn't work the same way with bots. Who cares how big your opponent is if you just keep winning? Is he winning the battles? It seems that way, but I can't really tell. There's just so much going on, it seems overwhelming. And unlike a human opponent, the bots don't seem to be packing up their units the same way. I feel like Eris wants to stack those mutas. Both our players at +1/+1 right now. Well, those mutas should go at that Viking. They got it badly outnumbered. Look at me giving advice to the machine. The machine's probably like 10 steps ahead of me. There's probably many reasons for it doing what it's doing that I haven't even considered. Oh, worker pull at the triangular third. Man, it's hard to harass your opponent's workers when they just dodge everything. Eris is about to max out, and if we call that max, we could say that she just did a max out at 10 minutes. That's pretty amazing if you consider that she's been under attack the entire time. Whoa, there's a stat. Micromachine has been hyper efficient. In all of this chaos, he's only lost 12 units. I suppose for him it's not chaos. This is an organized battle. Let me see that again in case I read that wrong. Okay, so now I'm kind of seeing the story here with the competing philosophies. Our champion here has the superior macro, by far. But Micromachine, as his name implies, is hyper efficient. Eris just hit 201 supply. I'm sure I missed it, but she would have done an extractor trick to squeeze out an extra unit. You know you care about your macro when. Okay, so normally if you watch a human game and you see a mini-map like this, you'd be like, Blue's won the game. Blue owns the map. But Micromachine's not really showing any signs of dying here. He's fighting away. Nope, not so sure. His efficiency's kind of falling away now. Maybe he's gradually running out of room to maneuver in. +2/+2 for the Zerg. Terran's only +1/+1, but he's got his air upgrades as well. Oh, the corrosive vials have just made a chaotic situation that much more crazy. This is like a frenzy. We're on zoom out and I'm not sure we can ever zoom back in again. Oddly, I feel like I'm kind of watching a battle with ants. There must be a discarded piece of candy somewhere that they're fighting over. Oh, Eris's APM crossed over that of Micromachine. Makes sense, her army's so much bigger. Eris is adding in infestors now. Oh, and she has a Nidus network, but I haven't seen any worms yet. Viper's being added in as well. I hope we get to see some spells. Micromachine got a fusion core somehow during all of this. No sign of battlecruisers yet, though. He does seem to be stuck on 4 bases, though, and I wonder if at some point he's at risk of mining out. A huge round of Hydras being made for Eris. Left center base goes up for Eris, but it looks like it's mostly a gas farm. Vipers are out. I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to be used for. I was thinking parasitic bomb, but Micromachine doesn't pack up his units. And since Eris doesn't exactly pack up her units either, I'm not sure if Duck does too much for you. Oh well, I'm still playing catch up. I guess we'll figure it out. So much battling and so little death. I feel like I have no hope for a Crimson Zone game here. I mean, it's very interesting just how different it is. Eris starts up the air attack upgrade. Micromachine adding another starport. Both players gradually increasing their commitments to air. I don't know what those Vikings are doing, but they're doing an awful lot of it. I anticipate that there's a whole sub-drama of move-counter-move going on that I just don't appreciate. Oh, Fungal Growth's going down. That's another spell that I think is less effective. I mean, it's always good, but when your opponent's army is so spread out, you can't get those big pack hits like you're used to. Oh, Yamato Cannon getting researched. That would be a spell I would see being highly effective. Dodge this. Big picture, Terran still on 4 bases. Eris is now taking the expansion on the Terran side of the map, but the resources lost for Micromachine still looks pretty tremendous. I feel exceedingly unqualified to tell you who's winning right now. It's gotta be Eris, right? Or less qualified than usual, I should say. Eris is really cranking out the Hydras now, a dozen at a time, and she's about to get her +3 ranged attack for them. Micromachine continues to make Vikings, and I think they're gonna be less useful. Oh, and look how far Eris can bring her queens up. I don't think it counts as a queen walk when you've got creep up the whole way. Oh, Micromachine had to do a worker pull at his 3rd. Yes, this is starting to look bad for Micromachine. I feel like he's getting overwhelmed, a little bit suffocated, but he's still got the bigger army. I guess if the supply's all tied up in Vikings, that's not gonna help him enough. But whenever I need good news for the Terran, I look at the units lost tab. He's almost 3-1 on resources lost. Oh, and he's looking to take another base. If he can secure that, he can stay alive. The tanks are rolling forward to try to do just that. Oh, look at that. Micromachine guards against a Doom Drop on the right side of his main. That's a very good practice. I trash his overproduction of Vikings, and then he goes and makes them very useful. The Vikings hunt the Overseers, which means his Banshees can cloak unopposed. There's a method to his madness. It's just that the monkey with the microphone is too primitive to understand it. Oh, where are those Hydras? Somebody needs to do something about this tank brigade. This base is gonna get splattered. I think we're gonna see our first horror pinata here. That is a lot of DPS raining down on that hatchery. Will the cavalry arrive to distract those shots? Oh, I see a battlecruiser in production for the Terran. Yeah, that hatchery is doomed. There's your horror pinata. I totally missed the zoom in, but this really is a zoom out game. I'd zoom out farther if the computer would let me. Okay, and those Hydras are packing up. I think that's a great idea. Get that thicket of DPS going. A fungal grabs all those Vikings, and then the Hydras go right at them. Chain fungal. Oh, the Hydras want to base those tanks, though. They're letting the tanks get unnecessary splash shots off. That's something to keep an eye on. Eris might not have been taught how to do that. The Hydras pull up to attack range and then stop. But of course, if you base the siege tank, it's not able to fire back, and that's a big advantage. The Terran's 5th base is under threat now. Oh, we had to cancel his gas bunker. I love those. Oh, we've got a Raven dropping auto turrets. Looks like Eris is going to get revenge for his lost hatchery here. Command center's on fire, but it's still in. The Hydras pull back. The Cloak Banshee's going to work. Eris needs a detector. Micromachine's SCVs rescue that command center. He stops it from burning. And there's the liftoff. It's on fire again. The battle cruiser's out. The Hydras will absolutely have to pack up if they want to take that on. I don't mean pack up as in pack up your things and leave. I mean pack up as in form a tight group. What a game. Both our players are essentially building bases right next to each other. Micromachine's actually taking his top left as well. That means all bases are now accounted for. And Hardwire's a really big map. So this upper left area is really developing into the battleground. Well, the Hydras could snipe that CC, but they are busy running away from the tank fire. But where are they going? I think Eris is sticking it to me. I declare the upper left the battleground, so she immediately leaves. Eris is just continuing that commitment to +3/+3 Hydras. Where is that Bernie command center going? To its death, I think. Yeah, Eris sees it. There's no way to save it this time. Oh, there's SCVs doing the follow repair. I may have spoke too soon. No, it was a fake drama. So Micromachine now has 6 bases again. Clearly that's a lot less than the Zerg, but when Terran has 6 bases, they're in pretty good shape. Maybe things have stabilized enough that I can take a second and talk to you guys about how it is that I think the AI Arena League differs from AlphaStar. Because I know a lot of our viewers have heard me go on and on about AlphaStar in the past. Google's DeepMind machine learning project. There's 2 major differences in my view, and people who know more about this stuff can correct me. Oh, that Infestor got a neural parasite on that battle cruiser. We'll have to talk about this after the game. There's too much going on. Oh! I thought he might do that, and he did. Before the neural parasite wore off, he forced the battle cruiser to do a tactical jump to the middle of nowhere, the back right-hand corner of the map. That basically takes a chunk of your opponent's supply and puts it in limbo. I feel like I've seen a human do that before, though. But it's obviously very hard to do, so still very impressive. Oh, Eris's Hydra Force just got blown away by those tanks. Micromachine just got his first supply lead of the game. Suddenly Terran has a much bigger army. He's got 2 more battle cruisers on the way here. And he's gonna kill that hatch again. It wasn't actually a hive of economic activity. But hey, any hatch kill is a good thing. If these were humans playing, I'd be worried that Eris had lost his momentum. But I don't think you can demoralize a bot. I think they just keep on trucking. But regardless, Micromachine's battle cruisers seem to be having an impact, as are the tanks. So much so that Micromachine's actually going to add another starport, and he's going to pick up his +2 vehicle and ship plating. There we go, Lings on the tanks, that's what you want to see. There's not a lot of marine coverage for those siege tanks. Eris is working hard to rebuild his supply. He doesn't have much, 5 Hydras, just 3 Mutas, and 4 Vipers that aren't giving him much. Oh, we did cross 500 kills. I guess you have to do that when the game stretches this long. Pro-Machine's tank brigade is pushing south, going towards another hatchery. The battle cruiser just going to work. The Viper's not really doing much there. Despite an incredibly strong start, I'm kind of worried for Eris now. Oh, the Infestor took care of that battle cruiser. Sends them to the boonies. I guess that's one way Eris can get back into this. Micromachine's putting more and more of his supply into battle cruisers, which I think is great, because I think the Yamato guns are really useful for something like this. But if his battle cruisers are just going to spend the entire game in the top right-hand corner, then he's not going to get a lot of value for his supply. Speaking of which, is now maxed out. Oh, this jump is not a neural parasite. That was intentional. Oh, please tell me you sent him away to get repaired. He's down low, deep in the red. Yes, he is. I always complain that human players don't do this enough. And here we go, bots showing us how it's done. You gotta remember that the Terran repair is unrealistically cheap. Going from 1 hit point back to full costs about a quarter of the total cost of the unit. Repairing is almost always worth it. Oh, these Hydras just get hit on all sides. The Hydra Force Zerg had carefully been rebuilding just ran up to the tanks. And with the battle cruisers piling on top, the Hydras have been decimated. And that might mean that center right base is now vulnerable. There's no drones on the mineral line, but the Cyclones are gonna kill the ones on the gas. Micromachine looking like a juggernaut at this point. I feel like Eris needs corruptors to deal with the battle cruisers. And then if he could afford it, he could go for broodlords to deal with the tanks. Oh, that battle cruiser got a timeout. He was sent to the corner. You think about what you did, young man. And don't come back until you're ready to apologize. Maybe there's too many Vikings for broodlords to work. But the idea would be that you would start with the corruptors. Because I feel like the Hydras are kind of getting owned by the siege tanks here. And then the battle cruisers are just doing everything else. Oh, there's another timeout. I think it's going to be a detention for the entire class. Eris is making that look easy, but that's actually really difficult to do. To pull that timeout maneuver, as I'm going to call it, off. There's a whole bunch of keys that have to be hit. It really is quite perfect for a bot. So mega props to Eris's design team for that. Oh, Micromachine setting up another beloved gas bunker. The minimap really tells the story. Red is expanding, blue is contracting. Micromachine has the gas advantage at this point. Can't help but wonder if that's the gas bunkers that are making that happen. That center right hatch falls. Terran has the worker lead. All the indicators are just sliding over to Micromachine's side of the ledger. The one thing Eris is enjoying still is the upgrade advantage. But with Micromachine using battle cruisers, they come with so much armor just on their own. I'm not sure the upgrade advantage in and of itself is a big enough deal. Alright, I'm going to try to explain again, if I dare, why it is that AI Arena is such a different project than AlphaStar. The central philosophy behind AlphaStar is that it's machine learning, the computer teaching itself how to play the game of Starcraft. It does 1,000,000 battles and learns from them, writing its own code. That's cool, but AI Arena is the opposite. It's humans writing the instructions for the bots. In AI Arena, behind every great machine is a really awesome human. And the programmers are constantly doing updates to teach their machines to be better and better. The AlphaStar team would sort of consider that cheating, or the opposite of what their goal was. The goal of DeepMind was to develop artificial intelligence. So when AlphaStar struggles with something, the design team would leave it broken and leave it for AlphaStar to come up with its own solution. So it's not that one way is better than the other, it's two completely different philosophies. And while I'm yakking away here, Eris is taking a lot of beats. All the income advantage is slid over to Micromachine at this point. The second biggest difference between AI Arena and AlphaStar, and this might be a big Captain Obvious, but AI Arena doesn't have any artificial handcuffs. Look at that, 35,000 APM. AlphaStar was forbidden from doing that. The idea was to simulate a human player, but with an intelligent artificial brain. So AlphaStar had a hard cap on the number of actions it could take in a minute, and on a 10-second interval, or a 2-second, or something like that. They wanted to simulate how fast a human could actually move and react, so that the power of AlphaStar would come from its decision making. Here we've got the opposite philosophy. Let's just see how awesome we can make these machines. If they can go faster, we'll make them go faster. Oh, Nidus Network's going down. I don't think it ever actually got used. So a project like this lets you see what happens when you take the best a human can do with the best a robot can do and you put them together. It's not Skynet, it's a symbiosis of human and bot. Oh, I'm starting to sound a little bit poetic. I better stop there. Anyway, while I'm waxing on, Eris is getting ground down. Micromachine's efficiency is winning out. I feel like the game kind of turned once the battle cruisers came out. Eris's response was to go with the neural parasite from the infestors. And while it looks super cool, oh, there it is, it just hasn't been enough. And I admit I'm kind of surprised. I thought the timeout corner was going to be game-changing. The other issue here is tanks are just too good against those Hydras, especially if the Hydras aren't going to get dirty and close with the tanks. I mean, if you're a human and you're playing Eris, you GG at this point? You gotta respect the robot's tenacity. Why not play to the bitter end? What's the downside? As far as we know, machines don't get depressed, tired, or bored. Kind of like Steve Rogers' Captain America. I can do this all day. Micromachine's been maxed out for some time, so he's using his pennies to finish his upgrades. Eris is switching to Lings. I think that's a good idea. In one sense, battlecruisers aren't so good against Lings. They kind of run by and can't be caught, and they're very good against siege tanks. I feel like if this was a human player, they'd want to try a desperation Ling run by. Do a sneak attack and see if that can change the momentum of the game. But that might not be in Eris's playbook. We'll see. Scans keep going down as Micromachine tries to hunt down those infestors. If I'm right, when the timeout maneuver happens, there's a brief second where the tentacle stretches from the infestor all the way to the battlecruiser in the top right. It's just a flash, and I can't be certain because I can't get the camera on it to see. But those kinds of little anomalies reinforce that the game designers had no idea that future players would come up with these kinds of strategies. Starcraft is full of those things, especially Brood War, and it's one of the things that makes the game so great. The game has completely evolved beyond what Blizzard originally conceptualized. Okay, Micromachine's army is double the size of Eris now, and the chances of a dramatic comeback are looking less and less likely. If you think about how much of the map Eris had at one time, it's really quite remarkable. I don't think those Hellions need to be running from those Lings. Well, so much for my idea for the Ling run-bys. If Micromachine is going to guard his bases with the Hellions, it's going to be much harder to do that. Micromachine just going spastic. There are red curse marks everywhere. Oh, I see. I think he's trying to make himself a difficult target for those corrosive biles. You gotta think it's very difficult to land a bile on an AI. But one thing I think it does achieve is it causes the siege tanks to stay unsieged. That's a kind of victory, not enough of a one that it's gonna save Eris though. It looks like her supply is gonna fall below 100. It has. And this has gotta be the beginning of the end, or maybe I should say the middle of the end. Because at this point, Micromachine has 3 times the army. Eris looks to be out of ideas. This might be a good time for me to mention that AI Arena has a Discord. And if you want to get involved and support them, they have a Patreon. I'll call it the Adopt a Digital Gladiator program. It helps provide for their dedicated hardware. Well, that's a pretty comprehensive list of upgrades there. You can see that Eris did get the crackling upgrade there. I thought that was really going to help her out, but it did not. Oh, double time out there. Anywho, AI Arena hosts tournaments, and they even have a prize pool. So it's not just for funsies. Oh, one of those battlecruisers has 64 kills on it. I've been trying to keep an eye on it, but it's gotten insane. That is highly efficient, even if every one of those kills was a zergling. And in the meantime, Micromachine is building a monster bank. 14,000 minerals, which means he can remax probably more than once, and he's not in danger of needing to do so. Meanwhile, I think Eris now has to start worrying about mining out. Though I guess she's probably more worried about the siege tanks that keep splatting her hatcheries. Eris is really focusing on the Lings at this point. And I have to wonder, is that because she can't get gas anymore? Or is she trying to generate a counter to tanks? Well, this center right base is pretty critical for the Zerg. There's not too many blue patches left in Zerg territory. And with those battle cruisers swarming around, the Marines on the ground are not asking, where is the air support? They very much have it. The drones have to burrow. Oh, and look at that. Eris has 0 gas coming in. 0. Her geysers are all dead. Oh, hold on. Those 2 aren't, but there's no drones on them. That's unfortunate, but we'll let it slide. These are very difficult conditions. She's trying to hold off a max army here. And she's basically doing it with Zerglings and a handful of Hydras. I think at this point, a human player GG's quite some time ago. I'm kind of curious as to whether Eris plays to elimination. Does Micromachine actually have to go and destroy all the buildings? The good part is, unlike a human player, if Micromachine has to do that, he's not going to throw a hissy fit. He'll just go and get it done. Still no gas for Eris, and his gas bank is just about depleted. And the base I previously suggested was of great importance is about to fall. Eris is officially broke. The drones burrow to save their lives. And Eris is even getting supply blocked at this point. I don't think she has the money to make more overlords. The drones are going to make a run for it. Not so much that they're trying to save their lives. They're grabbing minerals and bringing it to an available hatch. It's just a slaughter now. The army size is 5-1. Our Terran player is not a Micromachine. He's a death machine. Infestors continue to fight on. Spell energy might be the only thing Eris has left. It's a double timeout. The production tab for Eris is now empty. And as soon as I say that, she makes an overlord just to make me a liar. but I don't think an overlord is gonna save her. I do believe it is time to compose an epic poem to the demise of Eris. Fortunately for you all, I lack such skills, so you will be spared. 2 mutas, 2 infestors, going up against 200 Terran supply, with like 35,000 APM behind it. Is it too late for me to put my money down on the red team? Micromachine is gonna dethrone the champ here. This isn't a title match or anything, but it's a statement game. Or at least that's what I'm gonna say for dramatic purposes. Well, the Vikings are doing some kind of dance here. They're just lifting off and landing. Maybe they can't decide if they want to kill the hatch or go after that last muta. I'd like to thank the AI Arena people. I'd like to thank RaphRR, who helped me find this game. I didn't realize when I was chatting with him that he's actually the genius behind Micromachine. And I'd like to thank AI Arena for making all of this possible. What is this, an Academy Award? Did I like win something? I know, I have a tremendous ability to make anything about me. Alright, 200 supply versus 17. I think Eris can look for that GG key now. Nope, she's making an overlord. You gotta respect that tenacity. She's mapped out the road to victory. 6 battle cruisers traveling unopposed. That low muta's just lost control of its bladder. The BCs need to fire 6 Yamato guns on that one muta. Tanks rolling up to the natural. This is indeed the end of the end. This is just mop-up now, the post-end game. But I had a lot of fun with this. Oh, there's the GG. Yes, there was a GG script. How polite of Eris. But victory belongs to this guy. Okay, that was crazy. Just 5 quick thoughts before we go, people. Number 1. Hard to imagine that at the 14-minute mark, Eris actually looked like this on the minimap. 10 bases to 4, and the creep vision was almost total. If that's a human, I'm pretty sure you've lost the game. But looking back with hindsight, it probably didn't even look over for Micromachine at that point. Micromachine looked like a cool cucumber, coldly killing zerg units with incredible efficiency, just biding his time to explode. Number 2. Gas bunkers might be the coolest thing I've seen this year. Enough said. Number 3. Infestors giving battle cruisers timeouts. Amazing. But why didn't that work? That should have been utterly lethal. Maybe to make it work, what you need is 4 or 5 corruptors waiting in the back corner, so it turns into an ambush. That sounds super cool, but who can afford to spare 5 corruptors and have them just hanging out during a tight game? Number 4. Hydras and Ravagers gotta close in on unprotected siege tanks. Bottom line is tanks can't hit things with a minimum radius. It's a balancing factor for the tank. If it doesn't apply, then tanks are even more awesome than normal. And over time, that's going to snowball in a long game. Number 5. There is no number 5, except to say that I need to learn so much more so I can provide better insight the next time I do a video on this. Assuming people want that. Do let me know in the comments below. Should we be mixing AI games into your Starcraft diet? Anyways, big round of applause for Micromachine and Eris and their authors. Just an amazing achievement with what they've done here. Check out their Discord. Check out the AI Arena. They've got a YouTube channel. I know my world just got bigger. So let me just say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.